Hello and welcome to another episode, a special episode of the Hurry Up. It's the end of the regular season, unfortunately, which is something that's sad for me because it means that we're near to the end of the whole NFL season. But you know what? We've got a wicked weekend of sports, football in front of us, and we're going to enjoy it. But I'm joined today by my friends, pals, amigos. Sam Morgan, how are you?
I'm well, because my season still continues, unlike yours.
All right, you get in your little things as you can, because you know what? Unlike earlier before where I was giving your team praise, now I'm going to change it now. Put the juju on your team. Dan Faluyi, how are you, sir?
Mate, I'm like overwhelmed. I mean, usually Black Mondays is just one day. It's now a Black Week that we should call it. It's what's going on. It's just like, woof. So we'll get into that. I'm feeling it. That's what I'm doing.
Honestly, is it like no one's safe now? Every day, everyone's looking at their inbox. Come in, please. Vernon Kay, my friend, my amigo, my pal. How are you?
I'm very good, Dre. You?
I'm good. We're near to the end and then the start. But unfortunately, the season has to end at some point. I'm sure we have to feel it for the seasons you used to play, so you know what it's like to be banged up.
Yeah,
I have no sympathy.
End of season it is really sad and it's really disappointing, and we've got all that time to go. We've got to get through the draft and then pre-season and this, that, and the other. But let's not forget, this is the most joyous time for wives and girlfriends. They've got us back on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, not this weekend.
Well, until February the 13th.
That's true. No, they're going to be
Valentine's Day. The season's worked out perfectly.
No, really.
Super Bowl finishes. Yeah, Valentine's is the 14th. Super Bowl's the 13th. So you got Super Bowl and then Valentine's after. So no excuses, gents.
Ray doesn't celebrate it.
That's our Black Monday. That's our Black Monday. That's for sure. Whatever day that is, I'm not a fan of that day. I can't stand it. But nonetheless, I'll participate. Otherwise, you're dead.
That's because every day is Valentine's Day in your house, right,
exactly.
Dre? That's how smooth you are, my friend. Hey, not just smooth on top, but smooth in heart.
This is my friend. This is my friend, everyone. I'm telling you. Right, we've got lots and lots of news to be able to discuss. I'm really, really eager to be able to find out what you guys are thinking about all of these things. So let's kick it off. Let's go through the firings on Black Monday /week. So if we do it in reverse order of what happened, is David Culley of the Texans. That was a quick open store, closed store for him, 1 year, but at least he got 22 million out of it. Joe Judge, I'm not going to get into that just now because the rant will start. Brian Flores from the Dolphins, shock. Matt Nagy from Bears, not a shock. Mike Zimmer from the Vikings. That was a bit of a shock as well. Vic Fangio, I can never pronounce his name, from the Broncos. Urban Meyer, gone a long time ago. That's when he was partying in the club. That should have happened then. And John Gruden, which I will not get into in any formal way because I like my complimentary tickets and seats and stuff like that. So, right, I'm going to start off with you, Vernon. What was the most shocking firing for you?
I'm going to say, and it's an obvious one because everyone's jumped on this Miami Dolphins bandwagon saying that it's an absolute disgrace that Brian Flores got fired by the Miami Dolphins after tumultuous seasons at the Dolphins, but they were seasons of building. He was reconstructing a team, and to go from 8 losses to 8 victories on the bounce is outrageous. No one builds a team like that from absolute zeros to heroes. So something clicked in that locker room. Something clicked with his player selection. Something clicked within that coaching team that turned the Dolphins into a team of winners. And there's all the debate, the brouhaha about the quarterback position in the Dolphins. Is Deshaun Watson going to be the new guy under center next season? Is Tua Tagovailoa out the door? Who knows? But the most disappointing statistic out of all of this now with the firings is that Mike Tomlin is the only black head coach in the NFL. In a sport that's predominantly played by young black men, we have one head coach. We have one guy who's calling the shots. And it's ridiculous. It's insane. But yet you look at let's say the family tree of coaches, there are hundreds of black assistants. Why aren't there more black head coaches? Why is Mike Tomlin the only black head coach who stood the test of time? Because if you give Brian Flores time, and we all know because we're all massive sports winners, there is no time because winning waits for no one in sports. Everyone wants to win, and it has to be now at the click of a finger. And I get it. But in my opinion, being an NFL fan for decades now, the NFL is a sport where you can build a squad and get away with it, where you can say, listen, next year is going to be shit. Trust me, it's going to be shit. We're going to have a losing season. However, I'm building a system. I'm building a culture. I'm building a group of players that will take this team forward.
Yeah.
If you look at all the big head coaches, let's take Bill Belichick. Let's take Alex Ferguson. It takes time to bed in. It takes time to get the players on board or find the right players who want to be on board. That's the most important thing, who believe in your systems, who believe in the culture you want to create. I think the Dolphins have dropped the ball. I'll be honest with you. It's a massive fumble for the Miami Dolphins because he's definitely going to go and get another head coaching job without doubt because he's brave. I think the way he moved the ball within that offense, every player who could handle or catch the ball in that Miami Dolphins offense did so. And that's how you run an offense within the NFL. Mike Zimmerman, is it a shock? I guess so. But when you say that, I said this on the same podcast, actually, I think. Kirk Cousins, to me, is not a standout premier quarterback in the NFL. I think he dithers over the ball too long. He takes too long in the pocket to make a decision. His checkdowns are terrible, in my opinion. And when you've got a running back like Delvin Cook behind you, just give him the goddamn ball. Just give him the ball. Come on. So it was a shock and it wasn't a shock. Everyone else, fair play, deserve the boot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's well said, and honestly, I'm really grateful that you said that because not many people are definitely in NFL world have actually pointing that out.
But it deserves to be mentioned. We're trying to live in an all-inclusive society where everyone and everything is equal, right? Mm-hmm. The system doesn't work.
No,
the system doesn't work. What have you got to do to climb the ladder in the NFL to be a head coach? Well,
it's who you know. It looks like it's definitely who you know more than anything else. Trust me. Look at the team I've got. I had some guy just walk in with a proposal, and he got his job. But Dan, let me come to you quick. What's your one?
I mean, I just want to pick up on what Vernon said and said with the Brian Flores one. People forget before Brian Flores, you had Adam Gase. And can we not forget that under this man, Ryan Tannehill looked like an absolute bomb. Now the dude goes to Tennessee. He's not just not looked like a bomb. He's actually got them to the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry, arguably the best running back in the league, without A.J. Brown, top 10 receiver, without Julio. And he somehow managed to still get them top seed in AFC. Top seed in AFC. We're not talking about like just East Division alone, which is shambolic at best, but let's talk about that better. So for what he's had to do and the remnants of that sort of legacy to then come in, yes, the first season wasn't great, but back-to-back winning seasons, they've not had a 19-game winning stretch between 2 seasons since 2001, 2002. That's almost 20, exactly 20 years on the dot. So for me, Dolphins were just, the less said, the less better. But I'm actually going to be a bit different. I'm going to say a shock for me was David Culley at the Texans, just because what were you expecting the guy to do? I mean, my guy you're asking him to be like a gourmet chef with just like nothing in the cupboard, like no salt, no black pepper. It's like one of those chickens that comes in and it's just dry, not seasonless. That's what the Texans roster was. You know what I mean? You had Tyrod Taylor, he was supposed to come in. Don't get me wrong, he's been bounced from 2 teams, comes in, he gets injured. You had David Mills, 3rd round rookie QB. Let's not forget, the first pick of the draft in Trevor Lawrence has flopped. The 3rd pick of the round is Sam Wilson. He's flopped. So what are you expecting from a 3rd round pick in this year's draft class? And then on top of that, who do they have on offense? No one really. Like Brandon Cooks, he's past it. can't stay healthy. And on defense, there is no one to be talked about. There's literally no one to talk about on defense. So, and he does that and he wins 4 games. Granted, yes, you would have liked him to win more, but what were you looking for? In those games that did lose, they were competitive in a lot of them. They came back in the second half. There was a lot of fight. There was a lot of spirit. And if he's going to lose his job, why shouldn't Dan Campbell and the Lions, who wants to bite off people's ankles and lose the same job? Because he lost less games. So for me, it was shocking. It was shocking of the hire, but it was also shocking of the firing because it didn't make sense. Skip the guy some time, let him draft some players, let him see what he can do with the team. Yeah.
Are we? Sorry, Dre. And Sam, I know you're going to say something as well, but are we looking at a situation where the back office needs to carry some weight on its shoulders when it comes to the performance of an NFL team? Because we know the general managers, they have a big say in who's brought into the team. The salary cap personnel have a massive play when it comes to an NFL team to decide where the money goes and how it's distributed, who they can afford to bring into a team. So I heard and I've read a lot of stuff saying that Brian Flores at the Dolphins didn't have the best of relationships with them upstairs. And I think if that relationship breaks down, then unfortunately that does filter down onto the field. And it's very unique in the NFL that does happen, because if you take, for example, Manchester United, they've got problems with the manager, but the board have been there for a long time. And I'm going into an area which I know I shouldn't go into because you upset Man United fans about the Glazers and they are going to chew your hands off, spit your head out and all that kind of stuff. So Manchester United fans, I don't apologise! Being a Bolton Wanderers fan, I've had pure stick for the last 50 years of Man United fans. So let me have my 10 pence worth. But as an example, Manchester United, their board have done all they can because they keep bringing in a new manager. But in the NFL, the coach and the GM, that should be a tight relationship where the two work in sync. And I don't think that has been a healthy relationship in Miami.
But I mean, Sam, before I'll get Sam to come in just quickly. But just the caveat to that is that the GM for the Dolphins is black as well. So that's the only thing is that baffled me is that you've got you're not supposed to keep anyone because of their color. Obviously, I completely understand that before anyone sends that in. But surely, if you've got a coach who's doing really well, no matter what color.
Well, hang on.
We try to.
Yeah, but we should back ourselves here, and we should say that. I know what we said at the start, but he wasn't fired because he was black.
No.
Right.
I just want to. Let's all make sure it's clear. We all want to go to Dolphins games. Go Fins. But
they can afford a better lawyer than us. All right.
yeah, definitely. Let's just make that quite clear. We did not say that in any form of way. No, but I'm just making it quite clear.
The initial statement was an overall visual of the NFL.
But the GM is also black.
Yeah. So therefore, that relationship, it seems that relationship has broken down.
Yeah.
At the top in the top.
That broke down over the QB effectively.
You mean that? I don't think it's down to either of that. I think Chris Greer's been there for 16 years. He's got the direct dial to the owners. Those two work together. That's it. It's as simple as that. He will have now cemented his place at the Dolphins. So as soon as there was a bit of a ruckus between him and Brian Flores, see you later. There's only one survives there. The real kick in the teeth for Brian Flores, and as everyone has said, is that he was building a team. Bringing in Waddle, who looks like a great wide receiver, to he will come good. Like he did come off a really serious injury. You've got to remember this guy has had some dirty injuries over the last season, right? So he's coming. The tight end gets it. I can never say his name. Geski, whatever. He looks like a good weapon. I think he was building something. Let's not forget that the season before, their defense was unreal. It's
unbelievable.
So it was something there was something being built there. He's probably, and I would like to say this, he's probably gone, hey, next year is our time. Let's go for it. But then Mr. Greer is sitting in his, as I say, 15, 16-year tenure, probably just likes to sit comfortably in his nice throne. Why go all out to then rock the boat? Because if they go all out and it then fails, then everyone's going to start looking at the GM as well as the head coach.
Yeah, but all right, let me. I'll just cut in. Just I'll let you land, Sam. But what it is that, let's say in theory, which is what I think we're going to go towards this point, is that Jim Harbaugh was the number one pick for them. If you think that he's going to come in and not want full control, and if you think that dealing with Flores is difficult, then if you're dealing with someone like Jim Harbaugh, who's been in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, two championships, one Super Bowl, and he turned a laughable, jokeable franchise around to being a serious contender. Like, they were playing, I would say, arguably better football than they are now, and they're playing impressive football now under Kaepernick. So, Sam, I'll let you finish.
I was going to say, I think right now, I think everyone's kind of alluding to the same thing. You've got to have that partnership with head coach and GM. And you mentioned the Texans there. That Cassio, he's just come in fresh as well, because you've got to remember, before it was head coach and GM was the same man and got away with it for far too long. So now they've again, the GM seems to have come ahead of the head coach once again. And I don't think it should always be like that. It is important you get the pairing right. I think that really the head coach should have a say in the GM rather than the GM having the say on the head coach. Because at the end of the day, when all of us, podcasts and everyone else, who's the face we see? We see the head coach week in, week out. That's the person that takes the slack. And for me, it should be them knowing it in the background, they're not getting a knife in their back. And two, they know that the person's bringing the right players in. We know it's not going to happen like that. I'm just saying, generally, that's how, for me, the organisation should work, but just purely because then you've got someone in the background that you trust.
Well, on behalf of all Giants fans, I'm very glad that that's not the case, because I'm very sure that Joe Judge will be finding a way to be able to stay in. Quickly, before we move into Joe Judge, go on.
I'll just say, just quickly, I think every GM should get 2 head coach hires. I think you get up to 2 head coach hires, because you can always do one. I can always flop. I think you should get 2. I think you should get the opportunity to get 2. I think a GM has to have the look of seeing things holistically within the organization and what's best. A head coach is really just looking at the football team outside of a Bill Belichick, and even then he's now had to delegate, scouting duties and actually drafting duties to someone else. It's too much. You're manning a 53-man roster, 68 if you include the practice squad. That's a lot of people to manage as it is. And then on top of that, you want to do the organization, broadcasting, PR. Nah, you need a GM for that, to look at what's the best interest as well, cap number, everything. So
if the GM doesn't bring in the right thing, you just said it there, obviously, about the Texans. What did he have to work with? He was literally throwing shit at the wall. So I'm just saying,
that's the mistake of giving. That's the mistake of giving the GM and the head coach the same powers.
Yeah. Last word on this, Vernon?
Yeah, I'm torn and I'm a bit stuck, because if you look at the media pack of an NFL team, there are thousands of people that work within an NFL franchise. So delegation isn't an issue in an NFL franchise. Even in the NFL New York office, there's lots of people that work in the franchises and in the head office. It's all about relationships, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. It's about relationships, professional relationships, where you can build trust. And I think if you can build that, but, I've spoken to Adam Durdy, and when he was at the Falcons, the head coach there, who's now the defensive coordinator at Dallas, his name eludes me, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn apparently had the best relationship with his players and within the building that Adam said was just outstanding. It's just pure respect. But then again, we talked about it earlier on. Losing doesn't pay the bills, does it? You've got to win. You've got to put the W on the board. So it's interesting. And we take it for granted as sports fans, and we talk candidly about it. But when you're around that boardroom table, there's a lot at stake, isn't there? In America, the way that business is operated in America is everyone's vocal when it's going well.
Yeah.
It's who's got the balls to be vocal when you're losing, and I've experienced that when I worked in LA. I was on number one show in America.
Let me just take my
microphone working. for a brief period of time, and it was an amazing experience for 2 weeks. I did a music show out there, and it was amazing. It was phenomenal. But then when it bombed, when it flopped, it was a completely different atmosphere in the working environment. You know, it was all hush, hush, quiet, quiet. No more, let's go for drinks after script read through, blah, 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 blah. Everyone was out the door because no one wants to be responsible for losing, you know, and that's just the way it is. And there's that famous saying that every time one person leaves because they didn't make it in Hollywood, a plane arrives with 350 that are going to try.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, there are planes landing in, well, actually, no, it's virtuals at the moment with the new opening for my New York Giants. Let's move on to this and move on for this as quickly as I possibly can. You know, Joe Judge, let's just go through it. Joe Judge, crazy play calls, really weird press conferences, the whole big tin man, tough man bluster. And then he seemingly, in the time that he had to talk himself into keeping his job, he ended up talking himself out of the job. Do you guys, obviously, it's an obvious answer. Obviously, it's the right thing for him to be able to be gone, and obviously, thank God, Gettleman too. But do you think the process of that the Maras are having, where they're not promoting from within anymore, they're going to be looking for an outside GM, and then process of getting a new head coach? Dan, I'll start with you. Do you feel that that is the actual recipe for now the rise of the Giants?
It depends, because you got to remember that, look, under Dave Gettleman, they did win two Super Bowls with Eli. So, you know, he's been there for a very long time.
Nah, that was under Reese. One of them was under Reese.
And
he was working in the building, but anyone was. So was a coffee man.
He's won one as a GM, no? With Eli.
No.
Not won any.
No, not that I know, but I'll double check. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Double check that, because I'm not sure, but I thought he was GM for a very long time. But either way, he's been in the building. It's hard because it's one of those kind of things where you want a culture and you want the person to be immersed in the culture before going on to actually win and stuff. So I think it's a tricky one, because obviously the Giants itself is a massive organization. It's a massive name. It's a storied franchise with the NFL. It's one of the storied franchises in the NFL with like Pittsburgh and Green Bay and Dallas. So it's one of those kind of situations where it hasn't been working. Maybe try something new, but you also want to kind of understand what the culture is. But again, the culture's been it's been a losing culture for a long time now. So maybe it makes sense to actually try something new and to bring someone in on top of that.
Yeah, so Gettleman came in from. He's been the general manager from 2018 to this day.
Okay.
So he was obviously the one who was responsible for getting rid of Odell, and that's his biggest move. And then obviously, overseeing Eli move away, and then so forth. That's mistake after mistake after mistake, and then drafting Daniel Jones. The list goes on and on and on. Vernon, I'll come to you, and then I'll go to Sam. What do you feel was the problem, and do you feel that they're on the right track with the solution by just cleaning house, it looks like?
Yeah, I think it's about what we've talked about, isn't it? About relationships from head office to sideline. And it's a difficult one because, like what Dan said, it's a franchise that sits with a lot of love from my perspective, because late 80s, early 90s, they were a team that were forever in the playoffs, and those iconic visuals that we remember from Lawrence Taylor, Pepper Jones, that amazing defense that they had, those great linebackers, Phil Simms at quarterback, Joe Morris at running back, and then Jeff Hostetler. I mean, if you could win a Super Bowl with Jeff Hostetler, that franchise deserves like a 3-for-1. You've won one Super Bowl, but you had Jeff Hostetler at quarterback, so we'll give you 3 silver trophies for the reception. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like the Eagles when they won it with what's his name?
Just recently?
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Yeah, I mean, Nick Foles, God bless him, had the game of his life in Minnesota, and then he's bounced around the league like nobody's business. And so anyway, I think that the Giants, in my opinion, are one of those franchises that deserve to be at the top. They're in a tough division, but they deserve to be there historically, as do the Redskins, as do the Washington football team, as do the Cowboys and the Eagles. You know, they're solid franchises that were always at the peak of their game when I got into football. So I always hold them in very high regard. And as for the shenanigans that goes on, I think we discussed it with the Brian Flores situation. You know, it's all about that relationship. It's about winning. They haven't done that. Joe Judge was why they waited until Wednesday is beyond me. I think they were like, do you know what? We might keep him. Oh, hang on a minute. Look at the social media reaction. We better get rid of him.
To be honest with you, that was the thing that annoyed the fans the most, where it's just like they were worried about, you know, the whole look of replacing another manager again and again. It's just like, well, to be honest with you, I'll come to you, Sam. It's like the last time that they had that period of winning 2 Super Bowls and always being in contention is the fact when the actual family kind of stayed out of it. You know, when it was just left to independent GM, and obviously it might have been promoted with him, but like there wasn't as hands-on as they are now. And then obviously, you know, now the more that they've actually got involved over the last time and promoted within, it's just gone wrong.
Time for a refresh. It's as simple as that. I think it's the league has changed so much in the style of play, what's actually around it for each organisation. That the more I look at Daniel Jones, Barkley's injured every other game. You know, you haven't drafted well, and I think right now this is the prime time for anyone that comes in with the two draft picks in the first round. It's a great time. Why not have the
Big
right
flow, baby? You know it's coming. Brian Flores is coming in.
Steady. Let's just peel it back a little bit. You might win a couple of games more than you did in the last few years, but it's going to take a bit of a longer rebuild. So let's just manage expectations, because I'll tell you what, the fans need to get back in their box a little bit, because I think you need to just slow down and realise where you actually are at the moment, which is rock bottom of the pond. Let's just see if we can get your little nose outside.
You know what? I was saying to Vernon earlier on, off recording, that it was funny because, you know, when we spoke at the start of the season, before the start of the season, then you know, I was very optimistic, and then your little team was just like you know, let's see if you can effectively avoid it, you know, some type of relegation. But here we are, where the Giants have just like completely embarrassed me. Those two calls of the 2 QB sneaks was just like the lowest point of football that I've seen. But let's move on and off the Giants.
Just quickly,
God.
actually, let me put this out to the group. Of all the vacant head coaches positions right now, if you're a head coach in the league, which one would you take, guys?
For who? For what organization? For the Giants?
No, I'm saying you had the choice to pick of all the vacant ones right now. You got Denver Broncos, you got Dolphins, you got the Giants, you got the Vikings.
Good question.
Which one would you take?
Dolphins.
Really?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because we talked about the offensive weapons that they've got. And I think it's there for the taking. If you could rejuvenate that defense that they had last year, to me, that's a playoff team. That is a playoff team. And that's why it's such a shock that Flores has gone out the door.
You've got Belichick and the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah, but this season to me has been one of the most exciting in a long time, because you could literally put all the playoff teams in a hat and pull one out, and you could fight their argument that they're going to win the Super Bowl. Well, you don't have to fight their argument, because I think it's it's not a level playing field. I think there's a couple of peaks and troughs, but I think on the day anyone could win these playoff games, and that's why I think if you threw the Dolphins into the mix, you'd be like, yeah, okay. We'll give them a shot.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins there. I think if I was going to go into a different, just to change it up, it'd probably be the Vikings. Just again, with having Dalvin Cook, you got Thielen there. If you can get the QB right, maybe things might change. But the Dolphins, we just said it. They literally went from losing 8 on the bounce to then go on that 8-game win streak. It's there. So basically, Brian Flores has just set it up for someone just to literally tip in the net for me. So yeah, I think that's the eye opener.
Raiders, it's got to be as well. You got to look at the Raiders. The Raiders ain't far away. Like, you know, they got.
But look at their division.
They got some.
Justin Herbert.
They got some decent pieces there.
They got a nice kit. That's about it. Nice merchandise.
Oh, and the stadium as well. And then there's lots to do around the area. That's predominantly why I'd be picking them. Let's go on to
best uniform in the NFL.
Come on, I must say this. It is, and that, you know what? Their uniform is the only uniform that you can probably wear that anyone can wear, and no one's going to question like, why are you wearing that? You don't support them. It's just amazing.
The Raiders uniform is probably. I'm just trying to think in sports. I think it's the only uniform or emblem that is multi-crossover, where if you wore a Raiders cap, you're either a Raiders fan, a moviegoer, or a music fan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because it represents like so much.
It's like the Yankees, isn't it? It's just like, you don't have to actually support the Yankees or know anything about football. Like, it's literally.
Yeah, but I think culturally, the Raiders symbol represents so much. Like, for me, it's American football, and then it's 80s hip hop.
That's true.
NWA.
Well, yeah, you know, it's Dre. They all wore it. It's Ice-T. It's Ice Cube. The Raiders is, where is it? Inglewood, Compton, Long Beach.
Yeah.
You know, and I think movie wise as well, it's appeared in so many movies. The Raiders emblem.
The Raiders represent the outcast. They represent the outcasts and the rebels of the NFL.
Yep.
They always have. Always. So anyone that wants to go against the establishment, you go for the Raiders. You pick the Raiders. They're anti-establishment.
I was just literally just gonna rag on the Cardinals, but then I remember Jerry Maguire, so I can't even say. Anything.
Well, here we go. We're going off on a tangent. NFL emblems and the way they're represented in Hollywood, like Clark Griswold. We all watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He's a Chicago Bears fan.
Yes. Bears is another one as well. Bears is a Hall of Fame.
That would have been my pick for head coach.
Well, going to the Bears.
Yeah, you don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He might not stay there. Kirk Cousins isn't viable. The Lions are always terrible. For me, you got Justin Fields, a good QB who's got potential. They need to fix up the O-line, but they've got cap space. Defensively, they still have good pieces and yes, their defense is probably closer to the past prime bit, but you can still shore up with one or two pieces. Darryl Mooney's looking like a good wide receiver number 2. You still got David Montgomery as well. So for me, I say the Bears, you also got to think about the division you're in. Like, you look at Seattle and that division, you got 3 teams already into the playoffs from one division. That could have potentially been 4 if Russell Wilson wasn't hurt. So do I really want to keep going up against, Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert? Patrick Mahomes, by the way, is 9-0 in away games in the division. So I want an easy life, my friend. I want to put my
and in a shallow way, their apparel is nice too as well. Their kit looks decent. But let's move on to the awards. So let's go on to your guys' Offensive Player of the Year award. I'll start with you, Sam.
Offensive Player of the Year. Jonathan Taylor. If it's not rookie,
really? even considering the last time,
the last game. The more I think about him, just what he's actually done there. I mean, he carried them all the way to where they are. Obviously, yes, they didn't get in the playoffs, but I think Jonathan Taylor has to obviously be mentioned. If you're going to go, and notoriously the awards go to people that obviously made the playoffs and go into the offseason, it's Cooper Kupp. Like Cooper Kupp, the unsung hero who has been for probably the last sort of 2-3 seasons. Anyone that's had him in fantasy would have seen the numbers he puts up as well. And he's your go-to guy. So I want to shout out Jonathan Taylor just because of what he's actually done at the Colts, who are, sorry, George, bang average. So well played. But then for me, Cooper Kupp, it probably does pip it if you're going to go into people for the offseason. For me, non-rookie.
Dan, I'm seeing Vernon still thinking about it.
I do like Sam's point in terms of I don't like the whole. I think he needs a QB award, and then he needs to go away from that. What Cooper Kupp has done in terms of being, Triple Crown, I do solid. But for me, if I took Cooper Kupp out of the Rams, would their Rams still have been in a winning record? Yes, I personally believe that with the weapons they have. I have to put Joe Burrow because there is a strong argument to be made. You take him out of the Bengals team, will the Bengals actually get to where they are? Because let's not lie, before he got injured, his record with the Bengals was pretty impressive. They got injured and they just went on a losing streak. So let's not forget that this season, yes, okay, he's might not have had 1 or 2 great games, but I still have to put him in terms of what he has to do. The O-line is showing up. Defensively, they're just terrible. Yes, okay, he's got some good 1 or 2 pieces offensively, but, so does a lot of teams. Doesn't mean they can utilize it well. And Joe Burrow he's got them to the playoffs. He's won them the division. For me, I have to put them down as sort of MVP because for me, MVP means I take you off that team. Will you still be where you are, roughly speaking? And I would have said Derrick Henry at the beginning of the season, but Tennessee got the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry, so I can't really put that anymore.
He's still a top 10 running back, though. Imagine that, Derrick Henry.
I know. Solid. He's a beast.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It was like sitting there thinking. I was just like, he's really putting some deep thought into this.
Yeah. I'm just watching our builder rinse another couple of £100 off me. I'm thinking, what's
look at him overseeing.
I know.
So the guy's going to be working hard. So every time he turns around, see Vernon in the window.
Yeah, let's be honest. Jonathan Taylor at the Colts, he's got Carson Wentz fired. He has. His performance has been outstanding. And that playoff game, well, in my opinion, it was a playoff game. In or out against the Jags, it just proved that Carson Wentz is neither use nor ornament. You know what I mean? And he is now, when the owner says we're not going to make a decision on the quarterback at the end of the season, you're pretty much done. It's game over.
Yeah. As soon as you start hearing that, that's it. That's
exactly.
a problem.
So I doffed my cap to the Colts offensive line, and I saw a video, and they gave him the season of his life, and he bought them stuff from Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I like a bit of LV if I can afford it, but you've got to give him a car or a watch, not a handbag or a pair of shoes.
How much is his contract worth? Is he got
I don't know, but
contract?
Well, because of that performance, he's going to get bumped up a grade or 2, isn't he? Let's be honest.
That's next season.
Joe Burrow did that for his O-line. He got the all watches, customized Rolexes for his O-line.
Nice. I love that.
Was
it a pair of sneakers that he got for Louis Vuitton?
No, it was a bags.
It was
bags.
It was a nice little handbag, little number. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I get that, but
it looked weird on those offensive linemen. They look like to us, it would be like a massive bag. To them, it's just like something real small.
I apologize, but I'm going to stereotype. Offensive linemen like hunting, eating, and sleeping. So if you're going to get an offensive lineman a gift as a thank you for smashing NFL rushing records, get him a truck with a crossbow in the back. You know what I mean?
A whole load of pickup trucks in the car park,
and then a cooler,
get a car,
and a cooler with beer and beef jerky in it.
You got it,
guys. Thank you.
I've got to talk about Kyler Murray, mate. Is the best for presents. Go and look what he's done for his offensive line.
What's he got?
I'm just saying, this is what he's done. He went and got every single one of them the electric scooters so they can whiz around because they're big guys, so they can whiz around now training. So they've got electric scooters. And for this season, he went and got them all personalised golf bags and he took them all to golf.
Nice. I'll take a Rolex. I'm taking a Rolex.
I'd rather have a Rolex. Yeah, word up, Dan.
Or you can be like Joe Judge. Joe Judge gave the team pizzas. Yeah.
So every offensive lineman, when they've got the watch on, the Rolex, he'd go, "What time is it?" It's another 9.5 yards. You know what I mean? Thank you very much.
Defense.
Yeah, hang on. I'm not giving you mine yet. I'm going to go.
Oh, you haven't given yours yours?
No.
This long soliloquy, and I didn't even have to answer.
I know. I go off on a tangent. Too many hits to the head. I'm going to go Jamar Chase because of what Dan said. I think Jamar Chase has made Joe Burrow. because Joe Burrow admitted, I just put it up and he goes and gets it. And I think that relationship is going to blossom. Two players from the same university obviously know each other. So yeah, I think he's my offensive player of the year. He's just a human highlight reel.
Mine is if you take Justin Herbert out of the Chargers, there's nothing. So he is he is my new bandwagon quarterback that I love because he's amazing. That guy can just the throws he was doing. Come on, he brought that team back, and it's a shame that they didn't get to go to the playoffs. It's not fair because he brought them back. But I'm not gonna start saying that. But I just think that
I will say that. I will put my name to that. My guy needs to be fired. I'm sorry. Dude he's been effing up the Chargers, doing Charger dumb stuff, and you have a once in a lifetime generational QB, and you're trying to do what? He could have easily just got some field goals, one against Kansas City, and then don't forget they lost to the Titans. Not Titans, Texans. So
mate, you know what? It felt like in that game against the Raiders, it felt like the Raiders were like, all right, cool, we'll both go through. And then when he started to see that they wanted to win it, they was going to go for it. It's almost like the Raiders are like, you're not going to stick us. All right, we'll stick you. We're going to make sure that you're out. That's it. Right. Let's move on to defense. Just so we keep in time, gentlemen. I love talking to you, but we have to stick to our schedule. So, Dan, who's your defensive player of the year?
Simply just because of the fact that he tied a record. I have to do TJ Watt. He tied the single season sack record with Michael Strahan at 22.5. He played, I know people are going to make the argument, obviously it's a 17-game season, but I think he only played 14 games in the season anyways. So he didn't actually play a full season of games. So he actually played, I think, less games than Mike when Mike did it in that season as it is anyways, due to injury. So for that factor, it's been around for such a long time. The passing game has become more prevalent. So you would expect sacks to be up there more. And for him to do it and do it in less games, I think it's an impressive feat. And for that reason, when you usually break a record like that, that's usually supposed to stand the test of time or equal that record, then for me, you have to be in contention. So for me, that's going to be him in terms of defensive player of the year.
Mr. K and then Sam?
I'm going to go with a fellow defensive back. I'm going to go Trayvon Diggs. I think if you can put up that volume of interceptions in a league which is offense bias with elite quarterbacks and elite wide receivers, then that is for me the performance of the year.
He gives up the most yards, though.
Whoa, let me talk. Easy, brother. You've got to remember, a defensive back, in my opinion, and it's very biased, we know that. A defensive back does exactly what the glory hunters, wide receivers do, but backwards.
Yeah.
They do it backwards. And I would take yards. What did you say, Dan? Yards.
He's given up the most yards.
I'd take that. Yards given up for interceptions any day because you want the ball. You want the football. So if you're going to burn my defensive back, then yeah, fine, fair enough. But I guarantee with the volume of interceptions that he's getting, we're going to get the ball turned over on interceptions, turnovers, more than you are. And that's what football's all about. You can't win a game when the football isn't in your quarterback's hand, unless you're the 85 Bears.
Okay.
Sam?
Great logic.
I think TJ Watt has to be mentioned, without question, obviously with that record. But actually, Vernon, on what you just said with Diggs, I've been impressed with him. But Micah Parsons makes Trayvon Diggs. If you think he rushes that QB, he rushes that O-line so much that I think the QB is just throwing it out of nowhere for Trayvon Diggs to pick up. There's been don't get me wrong, there's been times when the pass looks like it's going to be as accurate as it needs to be, and he pops in. But Micah Parsons is a beast. And I was saying before, I've said this to a couple of people before, he reminds me again of when Chase Young came onto the scene. Again, it's just this beast coming through. And I think that, again, I'm generally impressed with him. And I think he's someone that people need to start watching out for. And again, the two of them have probably put Dallas where they are right now, in my opinion.
Can you imagine, and this is one of those moments where if I had a sound effect, it would be one of those heavenly hallelujah moments, right? Because you imagine being former defensive coordinator for the London Warriors, and then you pretty much go and do work experience at the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. And then you form a relationship with the head coach at the Falcons, Dan Quinn, and he takes you to Dallas to be the defensive line coach, where you've got significant players. You've got special players. And then the media starts saying that the reason why this Dallas Cowboys team has turned it around is because of the defense. And you're a Brit in the NFL responsible for players like Micah Parsons. You know, all right, he's a hybrid linebacker defensive end, but he still comes into the equation when you're drawing up defensive fronts. Yeah. And who's the man in charge of the defensive front at the Dallas Cowboys? Our Brit, Adam Dirty. Yeah. Now, to me, as I'm saying this, my face just illuminates because I've seen for myself the hard work that it's taken for our boys to be successful in the NFL. Yeah. And we should all, it don't matter whether you're London Blitz, London Warriors, Tamworth, Phoenix, or wherever, we should all be proud, the British American football community, of what these lads are doing over in the United States, because they're making statements. Yeah. And it's not just a couple of sentences. It's a piece of A4 statement that's slapped on the wall. Yeah. We can do it. We can do it. Now, imagine, right, that all our stars align and we have a Super Bowl with defensive lineman F.A. Obada and defensive coordinator Adam Dirty at the big show in LA. That is fucking mental.
That would be sick.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It's insane.
And both of them are such nice guys as well. Such nice guys.
But the one thing that they've both got in common is they are not shy of hard work. That's what's got them where they are. They are brilliant people, great personalities, infectious personalities. And the one thing that disappoints me, and it really irks me, is they don't get a mention in the mainstream press over here. There's only us football nerds who really have a passion for what they've accomplished over there. Like it's a backstage, it's a back page story. Yeah. You know, to me, this is as big a story as Jamie Vardy and Ian Wright. Yeah.
I mean, look, especially I could pronounce his name wrong, but it's Aiden. But he like what he did. I mean, he became the star of Hard Knocks, and that's the first time I saw him properly. Like, obviously, I wasn't in Britball that well, but like I saw him there, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy. I heard an English accent, and I was like, wait a minute, he's in charge of these guys? He's in charge of these guys who are like 3 times the size of him? Like, he's demanding that respect. And then I very quickly realized why he did. Like, he stepped on our little podcast and we interviewed him. And literally, he ragged on my team within 2 seconds. He saw that Liverpool shirt, Liverpool scarf, and he realized that, oh, a second, no, like 2 weeks ago, my West Ham team just battered yours. And he was very quick on it. So I can see why his wit and you know way of thinking is ridiculous. Not really nice guy. I'm really happy for both of them.
But you mentioned it there, Dre. You know, like walking into a team meeting with an English accent and telling guys who've played the game since they were 7 what to do, and drawing up schemes that are gonna beat offensive schemes in the NFL. Yeah, and you're from London. It's like, man.
Yeah. Honestly, it's for him to be able to tell people like J Law and all those like just what to do. Like, come on, these are franchise. These guys are the big money earners as well. Like some of these guys, like, set for life. Like, I don't even know what his contract is.
You're putting franchise players in the hands of a guy who is obsessed by American football. Like, I remember playing in the Brit Bowl in 2012. It was the last one that the Blitz ever won. And I take great pride in saying that. Instead of saying it was the first one or the last one that we lost, it was the last one that they won. And we drew up a defense 2 days before, and we were all like, WTF? Like, it was so complicated. I'm like, mate, I have to use sat nav to get home to where I live. and you're telling me about this, that, and the other. I'm like, he's like, no, all I want you to do is just stand there. That's all you got to do. It doesn't matter what I call, just go to this hash mark. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And he knows football intimately. Like it's brilliant. And I'm so pleased. And that's kind of, that's what I would wish for, is that one of these boys gets a massive, big, shiny diamond ring and just BBC's Sports Personality of the Year. They get recognition and they finally put us all on the map.
Jay didn't get any recognition, did he? Because I know he won Super Bowl with Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. Who's that? Yeah, Jay Ajayi did, yeah. But prior to that, Marvin Allen.
Yeah.
He won a Super Bowl because he was on the practice squad with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think it's different because Jay Ajayi has been in the system.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And the system that FA and Adam have been in is Britball.
Yeah.
You know,
it's harder for them to make it, definitely. Like, you know, and also I think
and you could, yeah. Sorry, Dre. I have to interrupt because I forget, and I apologize, my friend.
There's love. It's love.
But with everything that Adam has been through with his football journey, from the Olympians and then NFL Europe and being at Hamburg Sea Devils and Scottish Claymores and Carolina Panthers and Kansas City Chiefs, he's just had the opportunity to learn more about the intricacies of the game, and that's what you need, you know. And imagine he loves his family to bits, but imagine saying, "You've got to trust me. I'm going to go and do work experience at the Dallas Cowboys."
Yeah,
you know, that's huge. That's massive, and the commitment that their families have made is just, it's phenomenal. And I'm so pleased that it's paying off. Them.
I think the media would you know, kind of hook onto these guys a little bit more because, you know, with JJ, I think they people kind of still see him as American because obviously he left there when he's at 8 or something. So it's the same thing as Lennox Lewis, that type of stuff, really. But if you've got like an English guy who, like, literally, you know, when I'm speaking to both of them too, you literally feel like you forget they're in America because they're just so London. They're just, honestly, their accent is just clean.
Here's a good story, Dre. When Marvin and Ad were doing NFL Europe, and they'd have these training camps in summer, and the American guys would be like, "Where'd you go college?" And they'd be like, "LON State." And they're like, "What?" "Yeah, LON State." And they're like, "Where's that?" "Yeah, London State. It's just a small college. Never heard of it."
I don't know how they do it, honestly. Like, literally, it took me, you know, if anyone who hasn't seen the Hard Knocks, you know, with the Cowboys, please watch it, because literally you see this guy just come in and start telling people what to do, and you're like, you start looking around like, nah, he can't be in charge. And that, unfortunately, that's the natural reaction that we have, because you cannot believe, especially in Dallas Cowboys. Like, if you're somewhere like San Francisco, or if it's even the Giants or something like that, then a lot of English people are, or Florida, then you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But because it was in Dallas, you're like, what? Wait a minute, who's he? So it's salute to them. Right, it's just amazing. Quickly, I need your rookie player of the year and your surprise team of the year, and then we're going to get onto Wildcats.
Who's going?
I'm not going first on this one.
Sorry, Sam, you go.
I'm going to do both of them because they're both at the same team. I'm putting Jamal Chase as my rookie of the year, and I've actually got the Bengals as the team because they were the surprise for me, especially in that division. For me, I know that they haven't been the best, the Ravens and the Steelers, etc. But for me to go out and do what they did, and I still think they're going to go very far in the playoff series. I think they will blast the Raiders. So yeah, they're my two picks.
Dan?
Rookie has to be Jamal Chase. What he's done, what he's been able to do, the numbers he's been able to do, the yards he's been able to do, impressive. For me, surprise team will have to be the Raiders, because had you asked me at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have given much of a chance. But the fact that they've lost their head coach, they've had their best deep threat basically in prison now. They've had another guy on the team get a DUI. Their best tight end, one of the top 5 tight ends in the league, has been injured. They've lost their Hall of Fame iconic Guy and John Madden midway through the season. They've had so much turmoil and they've still made the playoffs with a winning record. They're my surprise team.
And Vernon?
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but Mac Jones is a rookie, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Mac Jones. Because after Cam Newton's stint at the Patriots, it wasn't the best. He joined after Brady left, obviously, and it was an unsteady ship. And Bill Belichick has turned this kid into a playoff-bound quarterback at the New England Patriots. Imagine stepping into those shoes. Now, I know that Brady's slippers had been worn by Cam Newton, but they're still Brady's slippers. You know, and I think this kid has made some statements that has given New England Patriots fans hope that maybe it wasn't all Brady. You know what I mean? So after the Super Bowl, everyone was saying, "Oh, it was Brady, it wasn't Bill." Come on.
I mean, Brady stepped into a team that's pretty much ready-made, but
come on.
You know, people call me a hater.
Yeah, and then surprise team. I'm going to go Jacksonville Jaguars because they surprised me that they're still a shit show.
I'm not sure why you're surprised, but
I mean, it's very difficult, but I'm still on board with the London Jags. I appreciate their investment in London, but come on. I'm a Bolton Wanderers fan. There is no winning in my sporting life. You know, give me something to cling to. You know, Tiger Woods with a broken back is still better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, I'm like, help me out, please.
Right, mine is the Cardinals for the surprise team. You know, I've been rooting against them all season for obvious reasons. Anyone who's been listening for a long time, and every week they disappoint me by winning. But they're starting to fall apart a little bit, but they still got over the line. So salute to them. And Micah Parsons, or Micah Parsons, however you pronounce it. He is, come on, like look what he's done in his first season, like record breaking and like catching a ball compared to what he has to do and the animals that he has to go past to be able to get to the quarterback. Come on, man, like he has
to get past men that drive pickup trucks with beef jerky and beer in the back.
With beer, pickup and with Rolexes and Louis Vuitton bags. Like, come on, man, like that's no mean feat. Right, let's go quickly on to the game picks now. Now, Vernon, you're new to this. I'm going to ask you, in the amount of the games that I'm going to be reading out, for you to give your, obviously, not only your pick, but I want a one lockdown result of the week that you're guaranteeing is going to happen. So let's start off with I'm going to read off the games now. So let's start off with tomorrow's game first is the Las Vegas Raiders. Still can't get used to that. It's weird. The Raiders.
Close game. I'm going to go Bengals.
You're going to go Bengals?
Yeah.
And Dan?
I'm going Bengals as well.
And Sam?
Full house, Bengals.
Wow. Okay. No faith in Raiders at all. Okay. Patriots at the Bills. Vernon?
It's a tough one. It's at the Bills, but then New England's just up the road, so the New England Patriots shouldn't be too out of favour with the weather. It's going to be freezing. I'm going to go with the Bills.
And Sam?
Bills. Yeah.
Dan?
Get the job done.
It's a hard one. As Vernon says, it's a tough one, but I have to think about who's going into the postseason on better form, and it's the Bills, the Patriots, and Mac Jones has started to look like a rookie in the last couple of games.
Yeah, it's a tough one, that one.
Okay, Eagles at the Bucks. I will start off with you, Vernon.
Bucks. Yeah, Bucks. Yeah.
Sam?
You get that padlock out, mate. This is the guarantee. This is the Bucks. The Eagles. Thanks for coming. You can go home now.
Well, this is something we're going to definitely revisit. Dan?
I'm going for the city of brotherly love, mate. I'm going for the Eagles. I'm not going to lie to you. Going for the Eagles. The best running game at the moment right now. I was always suspect on Tampa's run defense. I'm going for it. I think the Eagles know what they are. They know what kind of team they are. Mate, the Eagles, they're just going to keep the ball.
Are you locking it?
No, that's not my lock. But Eagles.
All right, let's move on to the Oh, no. Let's move on to the 49ers at the Cowboys. Vernon.
This will be the most physical game of round one in this playoffs. I think this is going to be an absolute old school war in the trenches. In my opinion, two suspect quarterbacks that kind of get away with it because they've got decent weapons around them. I think Ezekiel Elliott he's got to pull it out the bag. He's had a quiet season. I think he's got to do some damage. CeeDee Lamb has to prove that he's worth that next big contract. But I'm going back to my initial statement. It's going to be one in the trenches, the man in charge of the trenches. We spoke a lot about him. He's our mate, Adam Dirty. Cowboys win this for me.
Ooh. Sam?
Yeah, it's probably one of the best games, the wildcard games. But I'm going with the Cowboys on this one.
And Dan?
Mate, I'm going with the 49ers. I just think this is going to come down to scheming and basically coaching in this game. And I think Kyle's not really going to coach to do deep ball threats. So I think they're going to eliminate the threat of a Diggs on the outside and the perimeter. So really and truly, D-Boy runs anyways as good as a running back as this one right now. So I just think it's going to go down to coaching. And do I trust Mike McCarthy in a 2-minute situation? No.
He's won a Super Bowl, though. People forgetting.
He had Aaron Rodgers, my friend. Do not use that. Let's move on.
I always try to defend this guy. I don't know why.
I have no clue why.
Right, let me give you my lock. 49ers are going to run this game. They're going to run this ball all the way up. Every single one of them Cowboys.
I can see why Rodgers is one of your favorite colours because you both have the same jersey.
Lock.
Green with jealousy and envy. Just because.
No. This is all love. Aiden, you know I love and appreciate everything you do for the UK, but this lock is coming. This is going to be the game. And do remember, I've been saying this, Vernon. I've been saying this to these guys for a little while now that they've been dismissive of the 49ers. I said, watch when they get healthy. All they need to do is just get over the line. And now they're all healthy, and now you will see. Sam found out. So they're a team. So
they're the sleeper team in the playoffs this year for me, 100%.
They're getting to the champ. They're getting to the conference. They're getting to the.
Let me ask you this question as a collective: how many times have you spoken about Jimmy Garoppolo this season? None.
Left him alone.
None. It's his time to shine. And with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach, he got blasted by New England. We know that when he was at Atlanta. Got a point to prove, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? Because he doesn't throw unnecessarily now. But then must say this. The last game when they needed him to step up to beat the Rams, he did it all. But then it's not... what I love about that team is not all down to him. It's the scheme. And there's several different ways that they can kill you. So this is what they will do. That's my lock anyway. So let's go into the Steelers at the Chiefs.
All right, ring that chain, my friend. Ring that chain. This is my lock. This is going to be a 20-point game in the favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. In my opinion, the Steelers have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Big Ben won't know what's coming. He's too slow. He's too big. His release is like ancient now. By the time he's released the football, I could have put the kettle on, sat down, had a 3-course meal, and made 2 cups of tea. By the time that ball comes out of his hand. This is the ultimate lock. 20 points plus in the favor of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like this, Sam.
I'm not sure it's going to be that much of a blowout. I think you're saying that. I think the Big Ben knows he can't hold on to it. The only way I think right now is if the Chiefs lock off Najee Harris. I think that's the key thing for me. I think the Chiefs will get the job done, but I don't. Big Ben. There was something about his last game where he's just like, do you know what? This is actually my last rodeo. I've got to actually go out and he's using that a little bit more. This is the end, though. This game, but I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a little bit closer. But yeah, the Chiefs win.
And Dan,
get that chain out. Get it before the show. Lock in. The Chiefs have won it. You know what the Steelers remind me of? They remind me of the film The Mummy Returns, because that's what it is. It's like, one last bow out. You really shouldn't do a sequel, but you're going to do a sequel anyways. Really shouldn't do. And the sequel starring an old mummified guy in Big Ben, effectively. The Steelers epitomize. If you're doing a movie title or movie trailer, and I would love to see someone do this online, create it, Mummy Returns, the Steelers. That is what it is. But the movie box office roll is going to stop on Sunday.
Even though I can't use lock more than once, I'm definitely with you guys. Right, okay, last game. The Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. Vernon.
Cardinals. I said it beginning of the season. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They are going to win the Super Bowl. They've fallen off a cliff. Sam, how many are they undefeated now? Is it 4 in a row, 5 in a row?
I think it's 4 in a row. Yeah,
4 in a row. They can't let that continue. It's do or die now. And I think with Kyler Murray under center, anything is possible. Anything can happen, and it hasn't. So now I think he's got to somehow work with Cliff Kingsbury. That's his surname, right? Kingsbury? Yeah. And get the job done. They've got to get the job done. They have to put faith back in themselves. They need to believe. And if they can get past this Rams team, which is it's a huge ask, it really is a massive ask, then I think they'll play the Cowboys in the semifinals.
Dan, Vernon's clearly tired.
Look, I mean, for me, I'm a Seattle fan, so I don't really want to, I don't like the fact that 2 teams from 3 teams really, and the back-to-back. But if I had to say, I'm probably going to have to go the Rams, just because, the Cardinals I think Chase Edmonds is out for this game. James Conner's been injury coming into it. They don't have D-Hop. Kyler's a little bit injured as well. And we could talk about just the fact that small quarterbacks don't stay fit throughout the whole season. And I just think the Rams have just they have more weapons on the outside. They've got Cam Akers coming back. Defensively, it's starting to click with Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. You look at what they have. I just think their roster's too strong. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Stafford needs to cut out some of these mistakes because he's playing like a bomb at times. But, I'm going to go with the Rams.
Well, we come to the end. I want to thank you guys
Whoa. Why did you just assume that I was going to say Cardinals?
I thought I'd wait and see if you... Go on.
Yeah, so the Cardinals. Now, generally, we just need to make sure we cut out these penalties in the red zone. I've said this before. We're our own worst enemy. So we can cut that out. I think we still go on to win this game. Don't hate.
Do you think you're going to win the Super Bowl?
I never said anything about Super Bowl. We as a fan base are enjoying our moment because there are obviously teams out there that didn't make it this far.
Do you want to put a lock on it? That you're going to be...
I've used my lock. Because we only got one.
Hey, but listen. Look at the past results, right? Every loss has been, apart from the Lions loss, which was an anomaly, let's be honest, has been a 1-score game. I'm just saying, they're on the cusp.
What's your score? What's your score against the 49ers? Did they beat you?
I can't remember.
Hang on. Let me. San Francisco 17, the Cardinals 31.
Battered.
Like they lost to the Packers, who are the favourites for the Super Bowl, by 3 points.
Yeah, well, they just took it easy. It's just reps.
It's the D-Hop factor. That's what it is. Since he disappeared, they've just been trash.
If we get through this game,
that's why I pick as the Rams.
If we get through this game, then it's a different conversation because he's back the following week.
Unfortunately, he's just he might as well start booking his holiday now because that ain't happening. That's for sure.
It's a tough ask. But
this sounds bitterness.
It's full bitterness. Like I'm gonna drag you down too. If I'm drowning, you're drowning. That's for sure. Guys, thank you so much for spending another week with us and checking us out on vergemagazine.co.uk and then also listening to us on all reputable, lovely podcast providers. Vernon, it's been a pleasure to have you again, sir.
Cheers, gang. Nice to meet you, Dan.
Let's get you.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
let's get you back on before the Super Bowl or some type of Super Bowl special, because I know he's a busy man. You see the other two all the time. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, nice
more NBA stuff coming tomorrow. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.